everyone, I'm Lauren Elloise, and this is
James. Today we are going to give you guys some LGBTQ+ advice.
6 hours ago, Lauren posted a secret video saying, I'm gonna delete this, but asking you guys if there were any questions that you had that you wanted some advice on. They could be anything about life, relationships, but we're hoping most of them are about gay things.
Yep, because I'm an expert and you're just really good at giving advice.
Apparently.
So apologies in advance if we do not answer your question because there was like 300 comments, so I'm sorry. We're gonna pick some good ones out though, so hopefully it's beneficial to everyone. By the way, this video is part of the 12 Gays of Christmas, so make sure you subscribe down below, hit that sub button. The first one I'm going to pick, I think you might be able to answer this one better than me.
Right.
Because of set of reasons. Anyway, first question.
My question is, it's hard to tell if you just don't like guys or if your trauma with men has made them a trigger for PTSD or anxiety. Is there a way to differentiate this, being lesbian or just having PTSD around men? To clarify, I know I love women, I have all my life, it's my relationship with men that is confusing to me. I think I'm crying. I feel like I went through a very similar thing when I got out of my last relationship. Was the longest one I'd had, nearly 3 years, I think, and it was kind of traumatic afterwards. I did have a lot of PTSD about men in general, and I started thinking like I had this intense hatred for men.
Yeah, I know. I also observed this after.
Yeah.
Like, is it just PTSD or is it you don't like men at all?
Well, I figured out for me that it was more just a trauma thing, because when I was kind of thinking I was interested in someone else, like another dude, I would get to a point where I would maybe make out with them, or it would almost turn into something a bit more sexual, and there was an instant pushback. I was like, no. Don't want this. And then I would get upset. And then later on I'd be like, why was I so upset? That was so weird. You know, you figure it out that when it happens a couple of times in a row where you're like, I'm getting so close to pursuing a romantic thing with another person, and then you get this intense, out of nowhere, just stop. Stop doing that. Oh my god, no. This is bad.
Maybe it's more of a PTSD thing.
Yeah,
than
it felt
men
more
in
of
general.
a PTSD thing. But that whole thing, and being so, I don't like men, was actually what made me realise that I like everyone. Yay!
This is a coming out video.
So, for those of you that have watched me on Lauren's channel before, you may probably know me as straight. Well, that's
we've mentioned.
what
I think we've
said before, but I would reintroduce myself to you as pansexual, because I think that's the label that fits the most. But basically, my sexuality is gender does not matter to me. I don't care. It's not a thing.
Everybody is hot.
Yeah, basically. If you are human,
check. I didn't really come out till I came to college, where I haven't been for very long, and I feel really inexperienced romantically or sexually compared to all the people around me. How do I start putting myself out there when I feel so insecure that everyone is so far ahead of me?
Don't think that you have to be up with everyone else.
No, I felt this in college because all the guys around me were talking about the fun magical times they had on the weekend, and I'm like, bruh, I don't even know. I might like girls. I'm not really sure. Like, I haven't even held hands with a girl yet. Like, so I felt like I was really far behind, but I think that is common amongst a lot of gay people because we figure it out so much later than everyone else. We haven't experienced anything, we haven't tried, we've been too scared, maybe we've been trying to be straight for a long time. Just don't feel bad. Everyone's on a different timeline.
It took me until I was 17 years old to actually kiss another person.
I was 19.
So even at that point in time, I felt a little bit like I was behind everyone else because all my friends earlier than 16 had all kissed dudes or whatever. But I'm actually just happy that I waited. And I'm happy that I waited for things that are more than that, because it just made the experience less awful.
Yeah,
I hear
that's
a lot
true.
of bad stories about people getting into things when they're too young and then it being a really bad or really traumatic time.
Imagine if I kissed the boyfriend that I had when I was 16. Oh, no thanks. What is the best way to deal with a crush in a school or workplace setting? I have really strong feelings for one of my closest friends, but I'm hesitant to tell them because the risk that things could go bad, and then I would be stuck seeing them every single day until I graduate. I would answer in a workplace, I would probably leave it. I would try and move on because, like you said, you don't want to
It can-
see them every day and
Yeah.
feel bad. But I don't know, the other side of the coin is like, shoot your shot or you're never gonna know.
Basically. I mean, it's either gonna go well or it's not. So
I think in school situations though, you're probably friends, and if your friend is a good friend and you tell them you like them and they don't like you back, they'll still be your friend. They might be a bit weird about it for a little bit of time.
yeah,
I'm
it
gonna
might
pull
be
back a bit,
jarring, but
they will still remain your friend.
people get over it.
That's so like last week's news.
Yeah, you'll look at it in like 1 year, 2 years time. You look back and you'll think it's funny that that's what you were so engrossed in worrying about. Life was so simple.
I think back to like year 7 and I had a crush on someone for so long and I just was like, I wish that I told them. Like, I wish so bad.
I was the same at the end before I met my toxic ex. I had this mega crush on some dude for a long time, and I didn't really know him. I just thought he was hot. So I wish I had have said something, but also not really, because he just ain't it now.
My partner has been struggling with depression, but I don't know how to help or support them. I don't see them often, but I still want to comfort them. Any advice?
Ask them what they would want from you. Figure out,
hey, what's the best way I can support you?
Yeah, how do you want to be supported? What can I do that would comfort you, that would help out in any way? Even if it's like, my partner helps me with putting my clothes, like my washing away.
Mention that.
Because I find it very difficult to do even the most mundane tasks.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of you can relate that sometimes it's hard to even shower, and I don't shower every night. Sometimes it's just difficult. Communication is the most important thing. Communicate with each other. Check in every week. Like, is there anything else I can do for you? Is there anything that you didn't like from me this week? Just talk about it.
I also think, like, that is all excellent, but there's also the part where sometimes it might get too much for you and you might put too much pressure on yourself to, like, make this person better, and there's only so far.
You aren't the solution to, like, you're not medicine, you can't fix them, you can't cure their depression, so
just remember that.
Don't go thinking that you have to save them.
Yes, in my experience, you can only suggest so much before, someone has to want to be better themselves to get help. There are a few comments around this topic, but I'll read one of them, but this will apply to a lot of people's comments. I need help. I'm 14. I'm a lesbian. I'm also atheist. I live in an extremely religious house and go to a Christian private school. I recently found out that I'm not the only LGBT student, and we've been dating secretly for the past 2 weeks. I want to tell my family, and she wants to tell hers, but I don't think it's safe. Both our families highly frown on atheism and LGBT people. How do we come out in a safe way, or do we stay hidden? There's a lot of other comments that are like, how do I talk to my family if they are homophobic?
It's not an easy thing to do, and it is a very sensitive topic for a lot of people.
And it's different to every single person.
Yeah, everyone's family and circumstances and environment is different, but the most important thing is your personal safety. If you fear that something really bad
kicked out
could
or
happen,
they'll punish you.
Especially at that young of an age, it might be safer for you to keep that a secret until you're older, perhaps until you're 18 and you're able to move away safely.
Or you're in college and your parents will take you a little more seriously if you're like, hey, I'm gay. Because you're older, you're more mature. Yeah. You know yourself a little more. So in that situation, in that specific situation, I wouldn't say anything. That makes it sound so bad that you're hiding things from your parents, but safety does come first. Miles McKenna has made a lot of videos on dealing with homophobia, / he's just really cool to look up to. He experienced being kicked out because he was gay. That is somewhere you can maybe find extra support than just me, because I'm not the best person to ask for this.
It's really hard when you're young, because there's not a lot you can do to get away from people that refuse to take on board how you feel.
At least surround yourself with a couple other people, whether it's a school or outside school friends that you know are accepting, so you have that support network. Like, you've got one friend that is also gay. At least you guys have that together. Okay, heaps of people likes this one. What do you do when someone you trusted outs you? So someone has said, they're gay, or you're a lesbian, or told other people. Like, maybe you've told your mum and now your mum's told your grandma, and you're like, Mum, I didn't say you could do that.
I guess the first thing would be to just confront them
I
about
I
it.
agree.
Just straight up go to
Hey.
them and be like, hey, I noticed you did this thing. I don't really appreciate that you've done that.
It made me upset. This
You
is
know.
how I feel about it. In future, could you please?
Yeah,
Insert
can you please
what you
not do that?
I'm not ready to tell other people. I would like to be the one to tell other people. And hopefully they will respect that.
By the way, where's my
Whoa!
dinner?
We're having dinner.
She's not
You-
feeding
I'm
me.
gonna feed you dinner! It's a stir fry with chicken. Sorry if you don't like stir fries. This one, there's a lot of questions around this too, but basically, how do you make your parents understand that you're a lesbian or whatever you insert your sexuality here? Because I came out to them in 2019 and it's almost been like 4 years and she still doesn't understand me and she still thinks I'm confused. I just don't know how to talk to her anymore and can you give me advice? It takes people time.
Yeah, it takes time for people to digest that information, and sometimes people aren't, even if they're people you're related to, they aren't willing to understand it. They might not ever understand it.
And they
You
don't
can't
need to
force
understand,
them.
like, all the nitty-gritty of it. Like, I don't need to go home to my mum and explain, when I was 17, I was asexual, just so you know. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. But even just thinking about my experience with mum, it took mum ages to, like, believe me. It was a while before she believed me. It wasn't, like, a straight up, okay, you're definitely gay type thing. She thought I was joking, and you thought I was joking. Everyone thought I was joking.
I don't even think I knew anyone at that point that was
No.
openly...
I didn't even, like, because I came out saying that I was in a relationship with a girl rather than I'm gay. I didn't even come out as like, hey, I'm gay, just so you know.
I think it was because it was your best friend.
Yes,
And
that
I was
probably
like,
added to it.
Okay.
Sure,
What do you-
whatever.
okay, whatever.
Yeah.
If it had been like some chick I didn't know, it'd probably be like,
A
oh,
little bit more obvious, yeah.
okay.
But yeah, you've had a long time yourself to figure it out. You've had multiple years, but it can also take other people multiple years to understand.
Especially with parents, you have to remember that they grew up where the times were quite different than they
Yes.
are now, and
That's why
very
they
much-
act so protective. They're like, I don't
Yeah.
want you to be gay because I've seen what happens to gay people
That's what
around
Mum
me.
said about you.
She was afraid,
She was
yeah.
worried.
Nothing to be afraid of, Mum. Like, Australia's pretty good. And I think a lot of parents' reactions are because they just don't understand enough, and the experience that they had was it's not safe to be gay or anything different. My question is how to make the first move with a girl and what to say or do with your body language.
Oh, this, I don't even know, because like the last time I was doing that on purpose was like high school.
I don't know, I think back to like my first relationship before we said anything, we would just be play fighting and like, I don't know,
Oh my
touching
God.
each other all the time, that kind
Yes,
of thing.
actually, tickle fights. Lots of eye contact and like long pauses. Keep your eyes on their eyes for slightly longer than you would in a normal conversation. Mirror their body movements. So if they're like tucking their hair behind their ear, shortly after they do that, you do that. It's actually...
And then scientifically you're into them.
Yeah, I can't remember where the hell I read that, but
Now you know.
it's out there on the internet somewhere.
How do you make the actual first move? I think you just gotta do it.
That's so helpful.
I know! No, I mean, like, if we think back to any of the times where, like, oh, I wish I did this, or... It just takes courage. You just have to count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in your head and then do it.
Don't
You just...
overthink it.
No,
Don't
5,
sit
4,
there
3, 2,
going,
1, let's
"Oh,
go."
When's the perfect time? Just
Yeah,
send
if
it.
you're afraid, even with, like, first kiss stuff, like, how do you do that? Like, I don't know when to do it or where to do it or whatever.
Yeah,
It's
there's never-
it's gonna be awkward. You're
Yeah.
probably gonna cringe at it later or laugh about it in the moment. Like, we don't live in a movie. Nothing is perfect. So, just give it a go. Is it possible to be close friends with your ex? And if so, any advice on how to approach that? Is it possible in your opinion?
No, and I don't think it's healthy.
I think
You
there
need-
is a very low percentage
Yeah.
of where it's gonna work.
There's only one ex that I have that's like, I would never speak to them again. The other ones I have spoken to and were kind of friends, like
Just
fresh out of high school.
Nice, being nice.
But like, I could never be... It's just weird. It's just weird.
In my experience, because you all know that I was in a 3-year relationship with someone who was my best friend for 5 years before that, I think it has taken us a really long time. It's been almost 5 years since we were together, and I do think that we could, or we are just generally light friends. Like, we can talk, we can have a conversation just between us, but before now, a couple years after the breakup, there's no way. Like, you really need to step back, take your distance, become your own person again. It's too hard to have them in your life after you've broken up with someone.
Yeah, because either person is going to end up still having feelings and it's just going to cause issues.
You don't allow yourself to move on if they're still in your life.
Yeah, you need to just have the time apart, and if you were meant to be friends, eventually you'll find your way back to being friends again.
Another thing is, if I truly believe if you were not friends beforehand, you're never going to be friends. If you were friends beforehand and you were friends for a long time like I was, then yes, there's a chance you can still be friends, but this is years later.
Yeah, after you've basically both become totally different people.
And you're
grown.
Completely healed and you're like, we were together once, but I don't like it, whatever, it is what it is.
That was
funny.
funny.
I don't feel any feelings towards it ending or still being bitter or like any of that. Like, I don't care. It's also because I'm in a relationship now. Like, it would be an issue if I did care. When I hang out in queer LGBTQ spaces and events, how do I deal with not feeling gay enough as a newly out bisexual person? If you were to go to a gay event now, would you feel, like, let's say Mardi Gras or a pride parade or something, would you feel on the side, like a sideline? Like, I'm not gay enough to be here.
Not really. I mean, I think the first time we went to Mardi Gras, I kind of felt like that, but I was more like, I'm just here because of you. I'm supporting you.
Yeah. Which allies are allowed to. Like, the more support that we see and have around us, the better. But that's not the question.
That doesn't answer the question, Lauren.
I think it's just forgetting what everyone else thinks. I think deep down you know yourself that you're allowed to be in these spaces. Being bi is still part of the LGBT community. You're in the acronym. That's the thing. Even if you're at an event, no one's going to know that you're bi unless you tell them that you're bi. Like, they just assume that you're somewhere on some spectrum or you're a supporter. Like, yeah, it doesn't really matter exactly what you are. But I guess if you really want to, you could just dress extra gay. And then you might feel a little more in with the crowd. Just chuck on some glitter. There are a lot of questions around how do you deal with internalized homophobia? How do you accept yourself more being gay?
Change your environment. Your external influences play a big part in how you feel about yourself. If you've got lots of people around you that don't accept you, then try to change that.
Yeah, but it also, I think, I know it's still external, but it can be more internal work. It's hard to for me to be like, just forget about it. Like, it's okay to be gay. But I think the way that you figure that out is you just have to follow a bunch of gay people, watch gay movies, read gay books. The more you normalize it in your own internal world, the more you're going to feel comfortable being who you are. And that can take years. It took me a long time, but yeah, the more you read, follow, watch, the more you feel better. And you're like, you know what? It's fine. Doesn't matter.
Stare at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm gay and you just have to deal with it, okay?
Write it in lipstick on the mirror. How do you know if you're ready to date again after leaving a long-term relationship? My ex broke up with me about 3 months ago, and I truly believed that I was never going to find someone else ever again. But I do have feelings for an acquaintance of mine, but I just know that I'm not ready to date right now. So how do you know if you're ready? And what can help me in the healing process after being broken up with? There's heaps to unpack in this one. How do you know?
Something basically exactly like that.
Yes, same. Me too.
Yeah, you just
know that it's a universal experience. I think I started dating when I wasn't ready for a relationship just because I just wanted to see. The more dates you go on, the earlier you can, or the sooner you can start healing and the sooner you can start getting over someone, because you're forced to view other people in a romantic sense. So you're not always thinking about that ex that you were with. Like, that's your only partner you'll ever have.
You start replacing those thoughts with good thoughts of this new person.
Even if you're like I went on dates with girls, but I was like, you know what, you're not my forever person, but it was still good to go on them and talk about different experiences we had being gay, and it wasn't like we love each other type thing, but it's still nice to just have someone and just think I'm on a date. I am seeing someone else. Look at me go.
It took me a while with my current partner to want to be in a relationship. We were talking to each other and almost acting like we were in a relationship for like a year or more before we actually made anything official. So there's no like timeline. You don't have to rush. Just hang out with the person and get to know them as a friend, and from there, the more you hang out with them and get to know them, you'll eventually find that you do reach a point where you're like,
okay, I'm ready now.
Yeah, I think I can do it.
Even when I started a relationship or just started talking to girl pal seriously, I was so afraid. I was like, I'm gonna get hurt. Like, I don't want to even
Yeah.
try this. I'm too scared. I'm not ready. But me not being ready, like, you think you're never gonna be 100% ready. Could have waited 10 years and I still would have been like, I don't know.
There's never a correct time for anything ever.
But also don't do anything you're uncomfortable with.
Yeah, if you get too close and there's a point where your body
Is like,
wants
nah.
to react like negatively and it's like, ooh, this might be too much, then just listen to that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Exactly with the body thing. But opposite. So when I first started seeing Girl Pal, my mind was like, I'm not ready. Like, I don't know if I can do this. But my body was like, yes, this is fine. I like this person. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, body, well, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust my gut with it. And thank God I did type thing. But yeah.
That's why I took so
Trust your
long
gut.
to tell this person, okay, yes, I think I'm ready to be in a relationship with you. It took so long because I was just, I don't know if I'm ready. I'm a bit scared. I don't want things to happen the same way they did before. But it was just this ridiculously magnetic connection. It wasn't necessarily like a romantic thing. It's very hard to explain.
But it wasn't like a short term, I just want to just hang out
No.
with you on a date type thing. It was something more. So
It
you
was like
would have pursued it.
the strongest bond that I've ever felt with a human ever. And I was like,
Okay.
well, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever experienced. So if I don't say yes to this,
Yeah.
I would be stupid. Let's go. It either works out or it doesn't. So just YOLO.
I think the other half of the question is healing after being broken up with.
Spend time with
Get-
yourself.
Get out there was my answer.
No.
Yeah, spend time with yourself.
I don't like the not the get
Heal-
out there
heal
in
yourself.
the
No.
sense of start trying to date
No,
other people.
no, that's not what I mean.
Not that. That could be interpreted
No,
very bad.
no. My experience was like I started doing things for myself. I started visiting friends I hadn't seen for ages. I started going to events because I wanted to or because I could. Like,
Take interest in yourself and people will be attracted to that and will gravitate towards you, and then you'll probably find a new person within the magnetism. I don't make a lot of sense.
also block the person. Rule number 1. Block
Yeah,
them.
I did that.
The sooner you block them,
great.
the sooner you can move on.
You're kidding yourself if you don't remove them from your sights. Just delete them from your brain and your eyes.
In your life.
Yeah, much easier to get on with life without being constantly reminded of, oh look, it's that person that you're not with anymore.
Yeah, stop stalking them.
Get off. Get off my feed. The one comment, I'm gay. Congratulations. We're really happy for you for discovering that. We wish you well. Hey, do you like my shirt? It's pretty gay. You can get it down below.
Mine's gay too. It's just
Mine's
white.
gayer.
Why? Because it's pink.
No, because I'm wearing it. And I'm more gay than you.
Because you like more people, so that's more gay.
Yeah. I like more genders. How do I tell my
Maybe.
mid-distance
It's different.
girlfriend that I need more effort in the relationship? She's swamped with school and I have been putting most of the effort in for this semester, but it's not sustainable for next semester. She makes me feel like I'm floating and so in love when we are together, but I need more than she is giving. I don't want to hurt her feelings or pressure her, but I'm feeling drained. It's been 2.5 years together, both in college. Distance is not an easy thing. I don't have any experience with being any further than an hour apart. The best advice is just to communicate exactly how you feel. Just literally...
Screenshot what you wrote and send it to her.
Just literally say, this is how I'm feeling. I feel like I have been putting in a lot of the effort. I need a bit more from you. And just talk about it. Make some compromises on either end where you can. And if she's not willing to give any more, then you might just have to be like, well, okay, I guess this is...
Yes.
We just have to stop now then.
It's hard because relationships are all just about balancing two different people's expectations. You're never going to be the same or have the same feelings or whatever. Like, you always compromise.
You're gonna be different. You just gotta communicate. Talk about your feelings. Say, this is how I feel. Or this is how you make me feel.
I'm not
This
asking
is
to
what-
change anything right now, but
I feel
we're
like
just
I
talking.
need a bit more this from you.
Yes.
What do you want out of this relationship? Am I giving you everything you need? And if she wants less and you want more, then it's just not going to work, and you have to pop it on the chin and move on, unfortunately. How important is labeling yourself? It's not important at all, really.
If you don't want to, you don't have to.
If you don't want a label, you just want to be like, well, I don't know. I'm something. Who knows? It's fine. If it bothers a particular person,
what are
then
you really?
go away.
What are you?
I'm a fucking human being. Deal with it. It's also okay to just not know right now. A lot of people feel like they need an instant label to know what they are.
No, how old are you?
To fit in. I'm 24 and I'm only just being like, yeah, I think this is the label that fits me. But I'm also open to that changing again in the future.
It's okay to not know right now.
Yeah.
Just give it time.
It can be a very fluid thing for a lot of people. I like my childhood best friend's ex-girlfriend and I don't know what to do.
Well, hold
That's
up.
messy.
Best friend's ex. You don't go there.
There's a thing called girl code, and most of the time it's a good idea to follow. So
What's girl code though?
Don't date your friends' ex-partners.
Yes.
Unless they totally are like, nah, it's totally fine, I don't care, then maybe.
But that's up to you to tell that friend first and see what they say about it if you feel like you can.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might like, oh, maybe I shouldn't bring it up. Then there's your answer. Don't date the ex.
If the friend you feel like the friend's gonna react very badly, then just don't.
How do I find my personal style and aesthetic? I've been wondering about this for a while now and I can't decide.
Me either.
Oh, I just said that you had style. I don't know, you slowly collect a lot of things that you like, and then that's what your style is.
Pinterest is a good place to start because being a visual search engine, you can just type in women's clothing or men's fashion or
pale grunge or
smashing in some words and, seeing what comes up in terms of style, and if there's something you like,
then save it and then get your little collection, your little board, and then
it'll start
try and buy some of those things.
Yeah, start collecting that kind of stuff. But I feel like I have struggled with the same thing because I do this myself. I have a couple of Pinterest boards of different styles and people that I follow on Instagram that have vastly different styles, and I am attracted to like all of them. I feel like I want to have all of the styles, and for a long time I felt like I had to pick one style, like pick a style and that's you. But I actually don't know. If I want to be all the styles, then
be all the styles.
I will, because sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I want to wear black baggy clothes.
Yes.
I want to look grunge. I want to do really dark makeup. And then other times I'm like, I want to wear a real tight-fitting dress and do my hair and makeup really girly. It's like
you can flex. You can.
Yeah, you
definitely can. I think I'm similar with like I have some things that are pretty girly. And I have button-up shirts because it depends on how I feel. If I'm like, yeah, I want to, like, tomorrow's my work Christmas party. I'm with a bunch of guys. I'm going to wear my button-up shirt. I washed it today because I like the shirt, which is in the Truth or Drink video, which you will see before or after this.
Smiley faces.
Yeah.
I like that shirt. I want to steal it. I was going to say, very important. Try and find people that have a similar body shape to you because it helps.
Yes.
A lot of the time you'll find yourself gravitating towards the social beauty standard, and you'll be following people and looking at images that just isn't your body type. The shape of your body isn't that. So follow more people that look like you. You'll probably
then you can dress your body better. Maybe we'll end with this one because I've seen it a few times, and I won't read this one word for word, but it's how to tell the difference between a romantic or a platonic relationship or feelings. Attraction, that's the word.
I had this problem when I was 16. This kid said he liked me, and so I was like, well, I don't know if I really like you, so let's just be friends first. He was a good friend, like we liked similar things, he was funny, the typical
high school kid boy.
And so we ended up dating, and I thought that I liked him in a romantic way, but I later figured out that I didn't, because there were times where the most prominent thing was that he wanted to try and kiss me, and I was just straight up like, ew, no. I don't want that. That kind of spurred the thought where I'm like, well, if I don't think about wanting to kiss this person, then I probably don't have feelings. If I'm not imagining
eventually that happening or waiting
it going
till
to that point, then you probably just want to be friends with them.
I always say this in my head. It's like, if I'm ever confused about whether I like a girl as a friend or not, I'm like, would I actually kiss them? Like, would I make out with them? If the answer is yes, then you romantically like them. The
Yeah.
answer is no, then it's just friends. It's so confusing sometimes, especially being a gay girl, because you're like, all my friends, do I like all my friends? It's fucking, like, that's the experience of every gay. But the answer is no. Like, if I think about all my friends, I'm like, no. I would not kiss them. No, no thanks. Because we're just platonic. Hopefully that answers it.
Yeah.
Just imagine making out with them.
If it grosses you out, friends. If it doesn't, not friends.
Okay, I want to say thank you to you guys who left comments, because there was like 300 of you and I truly appreciate it, and I'm very sorry if I didn't get to read your comment out. But there were so many.
There was a lot of questions. A lot of them were quite similar.
So hopefully at least something we said resonated with you. My DMs are always open. It takes me a long time to get to them, but I do reply eventually. So if you're really struggling, you can use that.
Or me. If you want advice
There you go.
from
You
me,
can take all
I
of
guess.
it. Yep.
Yeah. I ain't gonna say no. I don't get a lot of people that DM me, so you'll probably get a response in 24 hours.
It's very much faster than me. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like button, hit subscribe, follow Leah on Instagram.
I have Instagram. I do ASMR, so if you like sounds to go sleepy to,
check out Linktree. Okay, we're gonna go and eat dinner now because it's 7 p.m. and I have to feed you or you will
I'll turn into
be
a
upset.
gremlin.